First, just a little bit about me. I was at church a few weeks ago. My name's Kristine Roberts. I am the new director of stewardship at the Nebraska United Methodist Foundation. I've been at the foundation since the end of January of this year. I am a lifelong Methodist. I grew up in Valley, just outside of Omaha. I went to the Valley United Methodist Church. It closed about my senior year of high school, and so we've been members at Elkhorn Hills United Methodist Church since about 2003 or so. So I I am very well aware of being in your shoes and wanting churches to last forever, really. I really do miss the Valley United Methodist Church. It felt like my church family, and it's not there anymore. So it's all about, that's why I'm here today. It's all about planning. But a little bit more about myself. I've always really stuck close to home. I went to college at the time, Midland Lutheran College in Fremont. It's now Midland University, but my diploma says Midland Lutheran College. That's where I went to school. I studied business administration, and I golfed on the golf team at Midland when I was there as well. I've played at Highlands a few times. It's way too windy, but good for you. After college, I was studying courses in college that led me to have an interest in the law, and so I went to law school here in Lincoln at the College of Law. So I lived here for 3 years. Over on East Campus is the College of Law, so I lived closer to like 48th and Holdridge or so for 3 years. Got my degree, passed the bar, and then I became an attorney practicing in Fremont. Went back to Fremont again, where I already knew people and had a job all lined up to be a general practice attorney there. And that's what I've been doing until January when I started the job at the foundation. So I was a general practice attorney, so I did do a little bit of everything, but part of the everything was estate planning with wills, powers of attorney, and those types of cases. But primarily my specialty was juvenile law, and then I also became a trained mediator as well, and did quite a bit of mediation work in my law career. And then also on the volunteer side, what led me to want to be working for the foundation in the first place, some people say, you're an attorney, why? It's such a rough transition into the foundation world. But I've been volunteering and on the board at Camp Fontenelle for the last 7 or 8 years. I'm losing track of time a little bit. But that's where I've really found the passion for giving, making sure that the Methodist word is spreading out there, inspiring kids to maybe hear the call. Would love, obviously, we would love to have more pastors come up through the ranks. And for me, I believe that starts there when you're a child and really inspiring kids that way. And then obviously going to church consistently. So I've been heavily involved at Camp Fontenelle for the last 7 years that I think really prepared me for the foundation role that I'm in. And then I do like to tell people my ultimate goal for all the Methodist churches in Nebraska would be for each one to have its own endowment fund where it can pay its operating budget off of income from their endowments. And that is a lofty, lofty goal, but I've given myself a lot of time to accomplish that goal. And you can't start getting to that goal unless you have these exact type of meetings where I can come talk to you and tell you about it, because you have to start planning now if you want the church to be here for kids, grandkids, and the future generations. So, a little bit of information about the Nebraska United Methodist Foundation. We were incorporated in 1965, so we've been here for a long time. It's governed by a board of directors that has 16 elected members, and its work is specific for the benefit of the Methodist churches, ministries, and individuals in Nebraska. It's not related to the conference. Kansas has its own Kansas Methodist Foundation. So the Nebraska United Methodist Foundation is specific to help everyone in Nebraska. And it's a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so you can leave donations and get tax deductions for leaving something to the foundation, in addition to leaving something at the foundation for the benefit of Southgate or whatever your favorite Methodist ministry is. And then a little fun fact, it has grown from $2.7 million in assets in 1997, and as we sit here today, we've got over $50 million in assets at the foundation. And then you'll get to hear a little bit about what that does for the Nebraska Methodist Ministries. So a little bit about who we are and what we do. We do education, why we're here today. Pre-capital campaign planning, if you're looking to do a capital campaign in addition to a building, a new building, whatever capital project you have your sights set on, we help you organize that. And then fund development endowment workshops, just like here today. If you have friends at other Methodist churches and you think maybe they could use some information on fund development and endowments, I would love to come speak with them at their church as well. All starts with the church committee, if you know anyone on a church committee. And then we do estate and gift planning seminars. My favorite are the Sunday morning conversations. If you were at church a couple of weeks ago, I got to set up a table. I love when people come and chat with me, and that's a great time to ask individual questions. If you have something that's particular to you, that's when I like to come and chat with people the most. And then if you do get our Nebraska United Methodist Foundation e-newsletters, the email newsletters, every quarter we do a little contest for your church to be in a drawing for coffee and rolls. And so if you win whatever the little thing is for that particular newsletter, then I bring not just Jimmy John's, I bring donuts and rolls and coffee to your church for fellowship after church on Sunday. So be on the lookout for that if you get the e-newsletters. And then again, yeah, Diane. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, yep. So the packets in front of them all have my business card on them. And then at the very bottom of my business card is the Nebraska United Methodist Foundation's website, numf.org. And so that's the easiest way to register for the newsletter there. Thanks, Diane. And then that last bullet point, again, the education goes further with meeting with individuals. I will tell you again today, your circumstances for each of you will be very different from each other. And so just having those meetings in your home or here, just one-on-one, that's the easiest way to really get into depth on how the foundation can be helpful and how we can partner with other professionals to help you make a plan. And then meeting with the church committees, your finance committee, your trustees committee, your endowment committee. There's all churches have different committees. So whichever one is looking that their goal is that particular topic, I would love to meet with those church committees as well to help them come up with a campaign or help with whatever their goal is. Capital campaign, endowments, estate planning, whatever their goal is. And that includes United Methodist Men, United Women in Faith, like I said, the camps, Camp Norwesca, Camp Fontenelle, any Methodist ministry. I would be happy to come talk to any group to talk about how we can help you. Okay, so a little bit more background. Grants this year and last year. We're obviously in the middle of grants right now. But at the beginning of the year, you'll, the first one's ministry grants up there. That's the one that's happening now. It just opened up June 1st. I do have a couple of applications with me if you're interested. But that is, we have donors that have left funds to our Gifts from the Heart that we have at the foundation. And then whatever, if you have a mission project or a ministry that you'd like to start, that's the grant to apply for. A backpack program, whatever your community needs, starting a community garden. There's so many different types. Now's the time to apply for the ministry grants. Last year, 2021, we gave nearly $100,000 in funds to, I don't remember how many different churches that applied to start their ministry with whatever projects they were doing. I can give you a lot of Camp Fontenelle examples. We got funds towards a rock climbing wall so that Camp Fontenelle staff can bring camp to churches instead of kids going to camp to experience camp. So we have a mobile rock climbing wall, and that was something the foundation helped fund with a ministry grant. And then it's almost closed now. We're almost to June 30th, but the seminary scholarships are still available for those who are going into seminary or looking to do a course of study. We do provide scholarships for that. Last year we gave $37,000. New in 2022, as you can see up there, the Dean and Keitha Thompson Mission Grant just started, and that is a grant specific for mission trips. So if you have some local people at your church that are looking to, Hurricane Katrina, go to Louisiana and help people. Dean and Keitha Thompson went to Jamaica and once a year, I think, for quite a few years. Just if you're going to go out and do a mission, that's what that grant is for. And it just started, so we don't have numbers on that one yet. And then the New Start, New Faith Community grants are if a group of people is looking to start a new church, and they have to get conference approval. And then we have funds to help with that, and that has already come and gone. That's the one that's already happened this year, and so we gave $70,000 here in 2022 for churches to start their new mission, new ministry, and new church. There's criteria on the conference website of what that qualifies for. So that's just some of the things that the foundation can do with the assets that we have and with donors that have their heart tugs for one of these things, and that's what they've left funds for. So the question was when the funds are available for the ministry grants. So our stewardship committee meets to decide how the funds get divided up after all the applications have come in, and they decide that at the October board meeting. And so once those are all finalized, then checks are put in the mail late October, early November. Okay. So at the foundation, we have investment services, typically for churches, organizations, and ministries, not necessarily for individuals. And so you can have an individual church account, which Southgate has a couple accounts with the foundation for different topics. And then endowment funds for churches. Churches always, at the foundation, if churches put money into the foundation, it's always the church's money. And so you can make an endowment fund at the foundation for a church, but the church, if they ever want it back, they can put it on Monday and they can get it all back on Wednesday if they want to do something different. And so if you do create an endowment fund through a church, we would want to meet with the committee putting that together and see if you want to put particular policies into that endowment fund so that if you would like it to act like an endowment fund and grow and just be able to use the income, that you have some stipulations there on how it can be taken out by the church in future generations if they, for some reason, don't feel the need for an endowment. Otherwise, if an individual leaves an endowment for the benefit of a church, that is always an endowment and no one else can ever touch it, and it will be used, the income off of it will be used for that church forever and ever. Again, I would hope my goal is for you to collect enough individual endowments that the operations of this church can come off of the income of that, and then you don't have to worry about keeping the doors open, keeping the lights on. You can concentrate on whatever mission work needs to be done around the community and let people know how great Methodists are. Donor advice funds, we'll get into a little bit more in just a bit. And then again, individuals have named endowment funds. You can have it named after yourself or in honor of somebody, in memory of somebody, however you'd like to name it, it would be recognized. Okay, the program advantages at the Nebraska United Methodist Foundation is you can start with as little as $1,000 to open an account. It doesn't take much. There's I think I said a few of these, so I really don't want to repeat myself if I can help it. But for the benefit of the recording, availability of innumerable separately administered accounts. Again, Southgate, I believe, has five. Do you have one? We've got churches that have up to 17 accounts. You can have a boatload of accounts if you would like. So it's just however you want to designate it. So you can have as many as you want. Accounts are maybe invested in a single portfolio or a combination. We have 5 different accounts that a church can choose from. Again, I would get into details about that if your church committee would like me to, which I've already met with them, and we can go into that more if they'd like. Separate quarterly reports for each account, or we also have an online option where you can get monthly reports as well. Deposits and withdrawals allowed at any time. Like I said, it's your money. No commission, sale charges, front or back end loads. So that's what you see at the Edward Jones, the Wells Fargo. They have that's how those advisors make their monies off the commissions. We don't have any of that. And then all funds on deposit remain the property of the account holder. Like I said, you can take your money whenever you want. And immediate access to funds via direct deposit. We have that as an option as well. And I do want to highlight 2022 has been a bad year. Just has been. As with all foundations, we all invest in the stock market. So you can take your money out of one foundation and put it in the other, but you'll find the exact same situation because the stock market is what the stock market is. But just know that historically, keeping funds in the stock market, even in a down time, you will end up, it will pay off in the end because it always goes back up. It always goes back up. We work with Union Bank and Trust here in Lincoln. They have portfolio managers that manage our funds. And we are able to work closely with them to make sure that we are always kept up to date on how our funds are doing. I just like this quote. Those who are generous are blessed, for they share their bread with the poor. That's always something that we need to keep in the back of our heads. How we give. Today I am highlighting the third one there, the estate pocket. People give, income. Your Sunday offering. You just you tithe or you give what you can out of your income. The asset pockets are accumulated resources, and today I'm talking about the estate pocket. What we have, a little bit of the asset pocket too, but what we have in our estate when we leave this earth. But you can also take advantage of some tax breaks by doing things while you're living as well. Concepts of estate planning. Donors can provide for themselves and for family. They make plans that will help prevent shrinkage of assets and save money in the transfer process. Why people don't estate plan. Busy with life, aren't we all? They don't feel like they have enough property to bother. It can get expensive. They don't like legal documents. As a former attorney, I know what that's like. Unable to know the future. None of us can know the future. Or they don't plan to die. Ultimately, it's overwhelming. And so they just don't get it done. Which I think maybe the government might prefer because that's where your taxes will go. So why you should estate plan. It's ideal estate plan first provides for the one doing the planning during the life. It is more to do with life than with death. Estate planning can help you maximize the use of your assets while you are living, provide for your families when you die, and make planned gifts to your charities of choice during life and or after death. I cannot highlight it enough. Planning helps you minimize taxes. So there are 3 places the estate will go when you pass away. Either your family, how you've left it for your heirs, a charity, or the government will take it. And so the will is the cornerstone. A well-planned will is a cornerstone of many estate plans. Most people rely on a will to excuse me, distribute possessions not covered by other plans. Those include your insurance, pension, IRA, anything where you've already named a beneficiary that does not need to be covered by your will. It determines the ownership of items that may be acquired in the future and distribute properties that may be acquired over time. So your will is your baseline, but if you want to avoid probate through a court, you need to do something more. Maybe consider a trust or talk with your attorney about other options you might have if all you have is a will and you don't want to go through probate. The goal of gift planning is to assist donors in the transferring of cash or other assets to their church or other worthy charitable recipient in the most expeditious and cost-effective ways possible. So your Christian obligation is to focus on who to help and why. And then the foundation's here to help you with the how, in coordination with your attorney, accountant, financial advisor, while we are here free of charge to talk to you about whatever you would like to do with your estate plan. We are not here to give you legal advice. And while I did say I am an attorney, I did not do enough estate planning to be comfortable to give you legal advice on how to set up a trust or what you should do to make sure that you leave everything how you want it left without going through the court process. And your accountant, I believe, is a really big one to get in the loop too on how to best to avoid as many taxes as you can. And your financial advisor should be well knowledgeable on that as well. Of course, they are also other professional advisors that help with the what, when, and how of the gift too. Okay, now I'm going to go into some general examples to help you think outside the box on how you can plan. But like I said, every situation will be different. So I would love it if you would be able to contact me using my card in your folders after the presentation if you have a specific question about one of these vehicles that might fit your particular circumstance best. Okay, so like I said, the will. You leave a bequest and a will. That's the most simple, basic way to leave property when you pass away. Your goal is to defer a gift until after your lifetime. Again, you name your church, your charity, whatever you'd like in that will, and that donation is exempt from federal estate taxes. Your life insurance policy. Goal is to make a large gift with little cost to yourself. You can give an old or new policy. Some people have gotten newer policies later in life just to leave a charity as the beneficiary. And then you'll get your current income tax deduction with possible future estate tax savings. The real estate gift, your home, your property, your farmland. You can avoid capital gains tax on the sale of a home or other real estate by donating the property or selling it at a bargain price. And then you get the immediate income tax deduction and avoidance of capital gains tax. The retained life estate is similar. You give your personal residence or farm to the charity, but you continue to live there for your lifetime. You designate the ownership of your home to your favorite cause, retain occupancy, and then you get the charitable income tax deduction and lifetime use of your home. This next one we are seeing a lot more of this year and in the future. It's a charitable gift annuity. It's one of the ways that you can, again, leave a gift during your lifetime. So the goal is to supplement your income with fixed annual payments. You actually can do quarterly payments as well. It doesn't have to be an annual payment. So you enter into a contract with the foundation, Nebraska United Methodist Foundation, and then the foundation is obligated to pay you that annual or quarterly payment for, there's a bunch of math in a computer system, but for your lifetime, based off of what you are donating into an endowment fund, for example. And so the benefits here are current and future savings on income taxes, fixed payments for life, and can defer payments for a number of years and increase payment amount. And we had one of these at Camp Fontenelle recently, where the donors worked with the Nebraska United Methodist Foundation. They sold off some farmland that wasn't going to be used for farmland anymore. The proceeds from that went into the Nebraska United Methodist Foundation into an endowment fund that they specify can be used for Camp Fontenelle, specifically for camper enrichment, not for building projects, not for operations, but specifically what tugged at their heartstrings was camper enrichment. And so the foundation will be paying them quarterly payments. I think the math worked out about, I think it was about $7,000 per quarter to this couple. And when they pass away someday, the camp gets the proceeds from that annuity. So that's another way to think outside the box on how you can, again, save on taxes, but leave a portion of your estate to your favorite charity. And as I said, I'd get to it. The donor advised funds at the foundation, those are, you make a gift that allows flexibility in your input on how the funds will be used. This is what most people use during their lifetime. You create an agreement where the foundation manages your assets, and then you suggest the beneficiaries based off of the income off of the assets. You get immediate income tax deduction option to provide input on how the funds will be used. So we have one family that's an example. The couple that set up the donor advised fund has passed away, but their 4 kids get to advise the foundation on how they'd like the funds left. And for donor advised funds in particular, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Methodist ministry either. It just has to be, I believe, 25% of the gift has to go to a Methodist ministry. And these kids are spread out. They're not all in Nebraska. They're spread out, and they have favorite missions in their individual states as well. So they make a recommendation, the Stewardship Committee approves it, and they've left funds to there was like an art project, I think up in Norfolk, where their community was promoting like a street of art, and so it was a tourism campaign. Somebody was very particular about this kind of breed of dogs and left a donation to it's not a humane society, but something in particular for this breed of dogs. So it's just a variety, and that's exactly what you can do to leave a donor advised fund at the foundation, and then again get the tax benefits of donating to a charity. But then those funds every year can go to whatever your favorite mission is. And my favorite right now is the IRA, the individual retirement account. So your goal would be to make a gift through your IRA to avoid excessive taxes. You would change the beneficiary designation to a charity for a percentage or all of your IRA. This would be most prudent after there's no income tax consequences if it goes to a spouse. If you're the only one left and you've named your kids, there is significant tax consequences. So there's an accountant on the Camp Fontenelle board, and I'm just going to read what he typed out about the tax consequences of this. Inherited IRAs are generally required to be withdrawn from the IRA either in a lump sum payment or withdrawn over 10 years, except if the beneficiary is the spouse. Withdrawals are taxed as ordinary income to the beneficiary at both the federal and state levels. Withdrawals are not subject to the 10% penalty. Because the charity is tax exempt, after your death, it can withdraw the assets from the retirement account without having to pay income taxes on the withdrawal. If the intent is to leave a portion of the estate to charity, bequest part or all of the IRA or company retirement plan to charity and leave the other assets to your loved ones that will not be subject to income tax when they receive it. In addition, any amounts left to a charity at death would also receive an estate tax charitable deduction, thus reducing any applicable federal estate taxes. And I have this wonderful example that I typed up that will probably be way too small for you to see on the screen, but the recording will pick it up wonderfully, so I recommend looking at it later, but I will show it to you. It's John and Susan, and their original plan is to give 25% of their estate to charity. So the screen's much bigger than the one I was working with in the past, but with the 25% current plan, you can see their retirement assets are 1.473 million. Their life insurance is 825,000, and they have other assets just below 2 million for their whole estate valuing 4.287 million. And in the current plan, they want to leave 25% to charity. That's 857,577. So go down here to heirs, charity, and government. If with their current plan, their heirs would receive a little over 3 million, the charity gets the 857,577, and the government gets $353,742 with that current plan of leaving 25%. Now, with the simple change of changing the beneficiary in their IRA to the charity, again, you can see the same numbers on top of what they have, but IRA 100% to the charity, their IRA is 1,071,972. Now, their heirs actually inherit more because they aren't paying the taxes on their gift from the IRA. They get 3,119,000. The charity now gets more, 1,071,000, and the government gets a lot less. And that's the goal. The government gets 96,000 in this scenario. And so if you feel like that scenario may apply to you someday, that you'd like to talk with us about that, I'd love to talk with you about how an IRA can really be a make or break deal on minimizing taxes and leaving as much as you can to your heirs and your charity. Okay, so I ask you generally, what provisions have you made to include your favorite Methodist ministry in your estate planning? The future of Southgate thanks you. And I just like this cartoon. I think it's really great. I'm afraid no one will ever find us. Don't worry, I give $100,000 per year to my church. My pastor will find us. And that's all I have for you today. Again, you have packets in front of you with my card, and then just some information. The little booklets are just general information on the foundation, just what I went over on the education, the grants, just our services we provide. The endowment guidebook has wonderful information if you are interested in considering an endowment fund to Lincoln Southgate, or again, whatever your favorite Methodist ministry is. You have our most current annual report that just got done before annual conference a couple weeks ago, so that's got our updated information. And then on the other side is your Leaving a Legacy guidebook that goes over the vehicles and more options for leaving a legacy. And then I do like to include these workbooks if you'd like to go through them for your own particular circumstances. There's check boxes and fill in the blanks. And if you do want to go through that and then contact me to go over it with me, I am more than happy to meet with you on that.